The Galactic Council had been at war for 3 standard cycles when they first approached Earth. Ambassador Zexathul, a towering crystalline being from the Vorthan Empire, materialized in the United Nations Assembly Hall with the usual pomp and circumstance that came with faster-than-light diplomacy. "Humans of Earth," Zexathul announced, his voice resonating through translation matrices. "The galaxy burns with conflict. The hegemony of Kral advances across 17 systems. We require your assistance." Jackson Martinez, Earth's newly appointed galactic liaison, stood from his seat in the assembly. At 28, he was young for such a position, but his military background and xenolinguistics degree had made him invaluable when first contact occurred 2 years prior. "With respect, Ambassador," Jackson replied, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Earth's position remains unchanged. We're not interested in your war." The crystalline being's faceted head tilted, light refracting strangely through his form. "You do not understand the gravity." "We understand perfectly," interrupted Dr. Ruya Chen from her position at the scientific advisory panel. Her dark eyes held a steely resolve that had served her well as Earth's chief xenobiologist. "We've studied your conflict. Both sides have committed atrocities. We won't choose between 2 evils." Zexthul's form shifted, colors dancing angrily through his crystalline structure. "The Kral will not spare Earth if they win. Your neutrality is an illusion, humans." Jackson exchanged a glance with Roya. They'd had this conversation before, in private councils and late-night strategy sessions. Earth had barely mastered interplanetary travel, while these beings wielded technology that could crack planets. But humanity had something else, something that both the Vorthan Empire and the Kral hegemony seemed to lack. "Perhaps," Jackson said carefully, "but it's our illusion to maintain." The ambassador departed with threats and warnings, his ship vanishing in a fold of space-time that left the sky rippling like disturbed water. For 6 months, Earth heard nothing. The war raged on, distant and terrible, while humanity watched through deep space telescopes and intercepted transmissions. Then came the day that changed everything. Ruya was in her lab at the International Space Center when the alarms began screaming. Jackson found her there, her face pale as she stared at the incoming data streams. "They hit the colony," she whispered. New Geneva, Earth's first and only extrasolar colony, established just 5 years prior on a world 27 light-years away. 6,000 souls, scientists, families, children who had been born under alien stars and had never seen Earth's sky. "Who?" Jackson demanded, though he already knew. "Kral hegemony. They didn't even bother with a warning." The colony's defense platforms were civilian-grade. They lasted 37 seconds. Jackson's hands clenched into fists. The reports kept coming in. Orbital bombardment, ground forces, systematic elimination of all human presence. The Kral had sent a message, broadcasting it on all frequencies for the galaxy to hear. "Let this be a lesson to all who consider neutrality a viable option. The Kral hegemony does not recognize non-combatants." Ruya's fingers flew across her workstation, pulling up personnel files, colonist records, family photos that would never see their subjects again. Among them was her sister's family, her nephew who would have turned 7 next month. "They chose the wrong enemy," she said quietly. Within hours, the UN Security Council convened an emergency session. The debate was brief. Earth's neutrality died with New Geneva, but what emerged was something the galaxy had never seen before. "We're not joining their war," Jackson announced to the assembled nations. "We're starting our own." The Terran Defense Initiative moved with a speed that surprised even its architects. Factories retooled overnight, research facilities that had been studying alien technology for peaceful purposes suddenly found new applications. The same ingenuity that had taken humanity from caves to stars in mere millennia now turned toward war. But this wasn't the war the galaxy expected. 3 months later, Ambassador Zexthul returned, this time landing at the newly constructed Terran Command Center. Jackson and Ruya met him in the stark military briefing room, their civilian clothes replaced by the dark blue uniforms of the TDI. "We offer our condolences for New Geneva," the ambassador began. "Perhaps now you understand." "We understand that both sides are monsters," Ruya interrupted. "The question is whether we'll let you continue to be monsters." Zexthul's crystalline form shifted uncertainly. "I do not comprehend." Jackson activated the holographic display. Star charts filled the air, showing the spiral arm where the war raged. Red markers indicated recent crawl victories. Blue showed Vorthen holdings. But now there were new markers, silver ones, spreading like a web through contested space. Evacuation zones, Jackson explained. In the past 60 days, we've extracted 4 million civilians from 17 worlds. We don't ask which side they belong to. Impossible. You lack the ships, the technology. We improvised. Ruya's smile was sharp as a blade. Amazing what humans can accomplish when properly motivated. The truth was both simpler and more complex than that. Humanity had done what neither the Empire nor the hegemony had thought to do. They'd talked to the civilians, the refugees, the conquered peoples who had been shuttled between masters like property. And those people had shared something precious: intelligence. Your war ends now, Jackson continued. Both of you have exhausted your resources fighting each other. But we've been building, learning. Most importantly, we've been listening to the people you've both ignored. The display shifted, showing new data. Crawl supply lines, Vorthen staging areas, the secret weapons both sides thought were hidden. Information provided by beings who had been treated as pawns for too long. Surrender and we'll mediate a peace. Continue fighting and we'll end this war ourselves. Zexthol's laughter was like breaking crystal. You would threaten both sides? Foolish humans, you are outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Ruya and Jackson shared another look, and this time they smiled. Ambassador, Ruya said softly, you killed our children. Do you really think numbers matter to us now? The war ended 6 months later, not with a great battle, but with a simple choice. Accept human mediation or face human intervention. The galaxy had learned what humanity could accomplish when they stopped being neutral. And in the ruins of New Geneva, now a memorial world, a simple monument bore the words that had become humanity's promise to the stars. Never again. Not to anyone. Jackson and Ruya stood before it as the first Terran peace enforcement ships departed for distant systems, carrying a message the galaxy was still learning to understand. Earth hadn't joined the war. Earth had ended it.